Divinitas salutaras, vertebras libertas.
Hello everybody and welcome back once again to Let's Play Total War Rome Remastered. Yeah, you gotta remember the order of these words. Good grief. Welcome to Rome Total War, alright? Here we are, about to start things off proper. And I intended to start this session recording about an hour ago, but for some strange reason I had a Windows update. After the Windows update, it seems that my shadow play won't capture the game in full screen. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so I decided to resort back to Old Faithful and had to set up OBS again, because I haven't set up OBS since I reinstalled everything on my new computer, so to go through all the settings, I had to remember how to set up OBS for recording. I'm going to have to do exactly the same again tomorrow to set up the streaming for Mass Effect, but anyway, I digress slightly. The fact of the matter is, the reason why I'm telling you this is because this session will be a little bit on the shorter side, because I just want to ensure that everything is correct. So if I start recording an hour-long session and everything is corrupt or whatever, the settings aren't quite right, I don't want to do it all again. So I'm going to try and keep the session to about half an hour tops. So we'll get the first couple of turns in, get things set up, and then we'll start the ball rolling properly in the next session. I can't believe computers, eh? Who'd have them? Who'd have them? Nothing but damn problems. Right, okay, so I have taken a look at the advice and the comments and the suggestions that were given, and yes, in line with what my thoughts are, I have come up with a grand plan, a medium-term plan for how we're going to tackle the early years of the campaign. Now, best laid plans and all that, they will go to rack and ruin, no doubt. The enemy will not comply with us, but we shall do our best to ensure that we have a smooth start. And you're all looking at me like, you ain't gonna get a smooth start, what the hell are you trying to do? But we shall try. So we're going to start from west, move our way east, set everything up. I shall highlight the plan, set the first turn rolling, see what happens, maybe take a second turn, and then that'll be it. So that'll take us about half an hour, and then we'll see what happens from there. So the medium-term plan, I might as well give you the medium-term plan first, so you know what I'm trying to achieve. But there seemed to be a common theme in the advice that was given, and it kind of marries up with my thoughts, really. Some people suggested going up through Spain. Interesting prospect, but we'll hang off on that for a second. That's definitely a medium-term thing, because Spain is easily defendable. If we have our ships patrolling here with our naval supremacy, the Pyrenees, there's only a couple of entrances you can get to, easily chokeable. So it's quite a nice little haven we could create in here. And all of these could be money-making settlements, and we could have a nice little, little financial epicenter right here that's easily defendable. Good medium-term plan. But right now, the primary focus is to sweep across the west of Africa, effectively linking ourselves up from here to here so that we have a nice joined up, empire. And not only that, but we get to control the entirety of the northern coast of Africa. Great for our naval supremacy, great for our trade. So our primary focus to start things off, and our first official campaign, will be against the Numidians. So we want to take this northern strip of Africa. So we're going to prepare for that. In the meantime, what we're going to do is we need to ensure that we try to fight a war on one front where possible. So the Iberians and the Gauls that may sweep down from the north need to be held at bay, and we need to ensure that Corduba also doesn't fall, because we have gold here. Gold mines are very lucrative. We can't afford to lose this. So Governor Theopanus, he has been tasked with one thing: keeping Corduba. That is all. So we'll get to how he's going to do that in a second. So yes, we're going to make sure that we defend Cordoba, but our primary form of defense is not going to be walls. It's not going to be armies. Our primary form of defense is going to be trade. Because our surmising here is that if we branch out and reach out to our neighbours and we broker trade agreements with them, they will be less likely to stab us in the back. How true that is, I do not know, but it's a tactic we are going to employ. We are the masters of trade, and so we are going to use our trade as a defensive weapon to buy ourselves time. So we shall branch out and try to trade with the Gauls and the Iberians to hopefully keep them from our doorstep. But we will also prepare militarily just in case that fails. The biggest issue we have is this little melting pot of a situation. But we're going to adopt the same strategy. We're going to try and get trade with Syracuse and the Romans. Now, some of you will be, what are you doing? Trade with the Romans? Those black-hearted Romans, as was put in the intro video? Indeed, yes. Because revenge is a dish best served cold. We go to war with Rome right now, we face the wrath of the Julii, the Brutii, the SPQR faction, because this game ensures that the Romans help each other out a lot more than the base game did. So we can't really mix with that right now. So we need, again, to extend an olive branch of trade to these people to try to keep them from our doorsteps. So that is it. Trade all round, folks. Trade all round. And we're also going to be trading with the Egyptians as well. That is actually a trade agreement that we wish to get just because it's going to be lucrative more than a defensive mechanism. Maybe even the Seleucids as well. But so that's your medium-term planning, really. Sweep across the Numidian side here. Trade with there for defensive reasons. Trade here for defensive reasons. Trade down here and here for actual proper reasons. And then once we have that sorted, we are then in a position to refocus our efforts. I think our efforts will probably be taking in the entirety of Iberia, but yeah, that's definitely a medium-term thing. So that is the plan that is going to be occurring. And as I said, best laid plans, it will not work. We shall have to repurpose, but we'll see. So first things first then. Theopanos has been tasked with ensuring Cordoba does not fall. He is our military man, if you remember. He is our strategist, command talent sharp, but he's also devout. There is no wall around here. This is not good. So we shall construct a wall to give us that extra bit of defense, and he is tasking Ribadi Ilerda to go forth and seek out trade agreements with our neighbours, as described, to ensure it is a defensive situation. Just in case they come sweeping down, a couple of extra units of infantry, although town watch they may be, is going to be beneficial, and that will give us that extra little bit of defensive bolstering. Hopefully might make the enemy think twice about swooping down upon us. And the final piece in our defensive puzzle, we need sight of what's going on. Now, we don't have a spy here, but that's fine. Watchtowers at the choke points will suffice. So one here, and then one down here should be all we need to at least have a little bit of a sight on what the enemy is doing. So, Theopanos, get to steppin', son. Get to steppin'. So Theopanos is going out, constructing a watchtower, and straight away we can see the enemy's first town. I say the enemy, they're not enemies just yet, but this is how we should see people. Always view them with a suspicious eye. So let's go forth and negotiate with Scabalis, and that should allow us to hopefully broker a trade agreement with them as a defensive mechanism. Right, next up, you come down here. And I think maybe a watchtower down here might be excessive. I think we can see from here, but we're going to play it safe. We're going to play it safe. Watchtower there as well. And as I said, watchtower over here should be sufficient. So that's this little area sorted. We have the recruitment, we have the building of the walls, we have the building of the watchtowers, and the merchant, or the diplomat, sorry, going off to get those defensive trade agreements. So that's Theopanis doing his duty to ensure that Corduba does not fall. Okay, so moving slightly further east, we have Palma. Now, we're going to not build anything here or here for the time being. These islands could well become a very good source of naval recruitment in the future. But for the time being, they're kind of exposed. They're a little bit weak. So we're just going to leave them be. We're going to go with a trader in both of these very shortly. But for now, they're just going to just sit there and look after themselves whilst the more pressing issues are addressed. But anyway, here we have a general. We have Theodeclus. He is wasted here, and also he's at risk. And these Balearic slingers, I'm informed, are very, very, very good at mowing down infantry. So we won't be disbanding them. We shall be using them in our campaign against the Numidians. So what we're going to do is we are going to send forth our navy here, and we're going to split the troops. And we're going to send them up here.
Aye, my lord.
And that should basically allow us to transport both him and the slingers down back to our homelands. He will be repurposed. He will be looking after Thapsus, whilst Burrus goes into Carthage, whilst Hasdrubal goes across Numidia. So a little bit of a general repurposing which needs to happen, and the slingers will form part of the army. So a little bit of troop transport duties here is required, and likewise here there's nothing to build but traders in the future. So that's those things sorted. So next up we have Carthage, our epicenter, our capital. And as things currently stand, it is our only unit producing settlement. So that's what we shall focus this on. Hasdrubal is a military-minded man anyway, so Carthage, for the time being, is going to need as much military upgrades as it can possibly get, because we're going to need those troops. So they are taking precedence right now. So we shall start with the practice range. I really love this building browser here. It's really useful. It shows you which ones aren't built, which ones are built. It's really, really good. A lot easier to see than this list of buildings. So, practice range to start things off there. Building-wise down in Thapsus, Burrus is a devout religious man, and there is no temple here. So we shall build the temple of Melkart for that trade income, that bonus to trade. So that's the building work done down here. Over in Lilybaeum, this is going to be our trade epicenter, if you will. This will be a massive trade hub. It's got access to the sea, so this could be one to focus the early trade through. So merchants will be sent out from here, port, all that kind of stuff. So the first building to assist in that little endeavour, again there's no temple down here, so we'll start with the trade temple, and then we'll go to improving this to a market to allow the recruitment of a merchant, and then a port after that. So starting the trade routes into Lilybaeum. So that's the building work done across the land. So we still have more manoeuvring to do.
Awaiting your command.
Hiram Tunis, Our diplomat extraordinaire shall come forth, and he is going to be the one to procure the trade rights with the Greeks, the trade rights with the Romans. Hopefully, as I said, keeping them from our doorstep for as long as possible. In the meantime, also, we're going to take our spy, Akat, away from here, and he will be one of the 2 spies that we send down into the lands of northern Africa to scout out the situation with the Numidians. So he will come down, board these ships, and off he shall go. In his place, we shall build another watchtower. So although we don't have, although the spy will be coming down, we still have sight of what's going on the island through a nicely placed watchtower there in the centre. And then he shall come back into Lilybaeum, where some of these troops will be repurposed for the army to strike out at the Numidians. Although we do need some of them to stay behind, because we need to ensure that Lilybaeum has a garrison strong enough to make the enemy think twice about striking out. Right then. And then once he's done procuring the trade rights here, he shall hop back onto the ships together with a merchant, and they shall sail down to the lands of Egypt to procure those lucrative trade agreements. Oh yes, indeed. So there we go. I think that's pretty much everything. Oh, it's not. I stand corrected. It is not everything done. Because you see, we have the situation with the taxes, yes. High taxes required here. High taxes required here. And then in the settlements that are closer to home, with the great population growth, the great public order that we have in these homelands, they need to take a little bit of a hit for the time being, and they need to go up to very high tax rates to fund this war effort that we are conjuring up, to fund the building work that we are undertaking. It is a temporary thing. Once the coffers are in a comfortable position, those tax rates will be reduced. So that now yields us a net profit of 47 denarii, which is not too bad in the opening stages. So that, I think, is pretty much everything in the first turn that I wanted to get out of the way. I've said this in many a Total War, that when I get to the end turn phase, I always think feel like I'm forgetting something. But hey ho, if I have forgotten something, it's tough titties. Let's go! Oh no. Oh, that's not a good sign. The Romans are already marching towards us. Oh no, please. Please, do not do the silliness. There is no need for it. Oh, okay. Hang on. Hang fire. What did I say about best laid plans? They're already going up in flames. Right, we'll get to that little melting pot in a second. For now, priorities. Who is this man? This is a diplomat, I see. He's come right to our doorstep.
Awaiting your command.
So now we can rotate the camera, you see. I forgot about that in the first session. Look at that. Get the better angle on things.
I carry your words.
Yes, carry my words and carry them well. Make sure you get trade agreement. Right, relationship 59. It's amicable at best. We are slightly stronger. We have a reputation of 80. This is another thing. We got to be careful about backstabbing people or attacking people we have agreements with, because that won't help. That won't help us when it comes to our reputation. We want to be a reputable people that other factions can trust to stand by their word, you know? So what we're going to do is we are going to offer trade rights, which is classed as generous. Now we could ordinarily ask for map information as well, which balances it up. we offer our map information, it goes back to generous. I mean, they know where we are anyway, to be honest with you. And I'd rather offer a generous proposal because that might help the relationship. So we're going to exchange map information, showing that open palm. We have nothing to hide. Also, the trade as well. Hopefully that should keep the Spanish from, you know, baying for our blood. So let's see what that does. Make offer. Does that increase the relationship? I'd be intrigued to see.
A most generous proposal.
Not instantaneously, but we are now trade partners, so that's a good start. End negotiations. Excellent job, excellent. Excellent, my chappie, excellent. Right, so we have trade with them and we have exchanged map information, so we can clearly see their settlements now, which could be handy in the future. And as you can clearly see here, there's a little bit of green in this border, and this is because Celtiberia is owned by the Gauls. Now, we don't want them attacking us either, so we shall kind of go on out
Awaiting your command.
and look
To hear is to obey.
to see if we can spot the Gauls wherever they might be. Not sure, but we'll keep our eyes peeled. Okay, so in the meantime,
Mighty general,
we'll come down here
move out.
and build another watchtower.
Build tower.
Okay.
My liege.
And then what we shall do is we shall go back across to here, where you can see the border is just about there. We'll come across that way and we'll build another watchtower over there, and then we have full sight of our borders. And hopefully by then we'll also have the trade agreements with the Gauls. And then we shall just have to sit and we shall have to wait and hopefully pray that they do not turn their blades against us.
Sire.
In the meantime, one more set of town watch to be recruited there. Building wise, we're going to go with the shrine to Tanit, purely because that gives us a bonus to population growth. And it's important that we grow the population here as quickly as possible to get to the next level of city or next level of town, because that will enable us to have better military buildings to defend ourselves with. So I'm going to go with that shrine. We could also lower the tax rate to boost population growth, but that's probably a little bit on the extreme side. So we'll not do that just yet, but we won't put it any higher than normal. So that's Cordoba continuing to increase its defensive position, and Theopanus is using that quick-wittedness, that sharpness, to use all available to him to ensure the enemy do not come crashing through the doors of Cordoba. So that's ticking over quite nicely. Right, now in this turn, got quite a bit of income, so we're going to actually start the traders here. So get the traders built in Palma, traders built in Corrales, to give us that little bit of extra trade income. He continues on his merry way
Aye, my lord.
to stop off
Sail.
to pick up Theodecalus and the Balearic slingers that are there, so that's that situation sorted. Right, okay, this settlement was building a shrine, so there's now a spot free. What is next on the list? He's a religious man and a trader. I think getting some walls round is as a basic defense is required. The increase in trade outputs, when people see the riches flowing from here, we don't want them to be able to walk through unimpeded, so we'll get the basic defenses up there. Carthage is building something, and so we'll leave that, and here we go. This is the problem. this is the problem. Settlement right here. So how do we alleviate that little problem?
Orders.
Let's take a look, shall we? Let's get ourselves back into the settlement, make it harder to take by increasing the garrison there. But we need to move quickly. We need to move very, very quickly
Sire,
to get those trade agreements. Now, can we get the trade agreements with Captain Antiochus?
I carry your word.
Yeah, look at that. Our relationship with the Greeks is actually pretty decent, so they shouldn't really attack us without good reason. So again, we go with the trade rights. The map information is not quite so important for these guys because they're a bit further away. So I think just a basic proposal of trade rights and nothing else should suffice. So let's try that.
A most generous proposal.
And they're trading with the Scipii as well as us. So we shall end the negotiations. Now he can't. Can he do 2 missions on 1 turn? I didn't think you could used to do that, but maybe you can now. So let's try it. There could be an army here though, so we don't get blocked. So
To hear is to obey.
yeah, there he is.
I carry your words.
So we're going to speak with. This could be the leader of the faction himself, Mr. Scipio. Cornelius Scipio, is it? Get his name right, will you? Hiram, don't offend the man. This is Quintus Scipio, not the big man himself, but nonetheless a family member. And again, get that trade right. Can you imagine an alliance with Rome? Could we work that in the future? We don't wish to. Oh, black-hearted Romans. We're just biding our time right now. So again, trade rights, which is deemed to be balanced. So they are, of course, enemies with nobody yet. Allied with their brothers. Trade partners with us and Greece. Will that stop them from turning their blade against either of us? I doubt it, but our reputation isn't sour. It's good, so so that could be beneficial.
A most generous proposal.
Okay, we like that. So we have trade with the Romans, we have trade with the Greeks, we have trade with the Spanish. So that is our plan, just to kind of keep those baying wolves away from our door. Now we're going to go out into our ships so that we can procure trade rights further afield, down in Egypt and with the Seleucids and the Pontus, they're over there as well. Let's just get those trade rights flowing like wine from the old jug. In the meantime, let's have a look at this. We want the port here, don't we? We want the port to increase that trade, and then we also want the market to get that merchant availability. So we'll build that now. It's going to take 3 turns, and then 1 turn to build the merchant, or to recruit the merchant. So 4 turns before we can get that merchant on that boat with the diplomat and send them down to the southeast. So that's quite good. Right. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I think I've done everything again. Let's just take a quick look. Everything is building something. Corduba is the only place that is recruiting. In the meantime, we have a bit of spare coin. Not much, but a little bit. So what I'm going to actually do is start this army. We need this army for Numidia sooner rather than later. And yes, we are building things here to help with that, but we need it now. We don't, we need it quick as possible. So the where we're lacking in the armies is a little bit of infantry, and our infantry isn't great. It isn't marvelous, but it'll have to do. So we'll get them in battle. We'll just do it one at a time, just because it takes from the coffers every time you do it. So we'll get about 4 or 5 units of this Iberian infantry to merge with some of these slingers, a Numidian cav, the elephants of here. We can probably get some mercenaries from down in our own regions to bolster as well. And then we'll have a bit of a mishmash army of mercenaries and our own troops to launch the attack on the Numidians. think is best. Right, I think everything is done. Let me just double check. This is with a small start. This is with the start of the campaign. Imagine when I've got a bigger... Anyway, everything is done. Everything is done. Everything. So next turn is this is the end of the turn here. Aha! Look at that! The Romans, they turn away from us and they go towards the Greeks. Oh, they attack the Greeks. Oh dear. That's fine. You attack the Greeks. Just leave us alone. Leave us alone. Go for the Greeks. That's a good idea. Maybe our plan is working. Maybe our plan is working. Right, I'm not going to take this turn. I'm just going to give you an overview of where we stand in this turn. And I'm not even looking at these messages because who needs messages? Okay, diplomatic information. Everybody is now at war with the Greeks in terms of the Roman factions, which is fine. It gives them a distraction. They distract themselves and busy themselves against the Greeks. That's great. That means they probably won't bother us. They got bigger fish to fry. What? Why bother little old Carthage? So that's good. We like this. And we have a new family member. Tanit has blessed our family with a new offspring. Very good. Very good. New babe in arms. Right, recruitment reports. All these reports. We just burn them all. We don't need those. Thank you very much. Right, how are we looking in terms of the net turn? Oh, 3,000 now. It's not looking too shabby. Right then, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to go a quick overview of where we currently stand after our first couple of turns. Let me know what you think of the plan. Let me know if you've got any further advice based on what's just happened over the first couple of turns. Let's keep this rolling. Next session will be a longer one, don't forget. This is just shorter because of the OBS situation, so hopefully we get a good 3 or 4 turns in the next session. But here we go. So how do we currently stand? We have Theonopolis, 2 watchtowers constructed to keep an eye on the neighbours, and we have him just about to go and construct another one on our border to the east. He will then come back, sit pretty in Corduba, and wait for further instruction from the family leader as to what he wants him to do next. But his main focus is keeping Corduba at all costs. Perhaps getting a mine on this gold resource would be now a good time to do that we've secured our kind of borders a little bit. We're going to send him up to take a look at the Gaul area, get some trade with the Gauls, keep them from our doorstep as best we can. So the situation in Corduba, so far, touch wood, is stable. The island's currently building, and we are now in a position where we can ship our general and our units here
Mighty General. Aye, my lord.
down. So 95% public order is still decent, even with the tax rate as it was. Can we still set the tax rate now? No, we can't, because it's now auto-managed because of the fact that there's no family member in there, which is fine. But we could do the tax rate there. Wait a second. Get me bearings here. That's set as auto-managed, right? Yeah. That's how we got the game set up. Where there's no governors, settlements will be auto-managed, but this one's not auto-managed for some strange reason. So we can set the tax rate here. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's because this settlement was uninhabited when we started the game. I'm not sure. Anyway,
Ready to sail.
we'll send him back to Carthage.
Set sail.
Okay, so he's coming back with his Balearic slingers. So that's that situation taken care of. So Carthage, as it currently stands, military producing. We're going to be looking at getting those military buildings up and running as quickly as possible and churning out the best troops that we can for the war with the Numidians to the west. Thapsus will be focusing on trade, as will Lilybaeum. And yeah, the final bit here, this little issue of Sicily, which was going to be a right pain in the backside unless these people do, leave us be. The Greeks are standing on our borders, but they now have trouble here. Now, the frightening thing, really, if you look at it this way, is that the Romans, despite the fact that they had a trade agreement with the Greeks, they still attacked them. So our trade agreement is probably not worth the paper it's written on. The only difference is we had a relatively high reputation with the Romans, whereas I'm not sure that the Greeks did. So that could be the issue. But for the time being, the Romans are now preoccupied with the Greeks. So that should give us a bit of respite. But, let me know your thoughts. This could still be a dangerous position. But the reason why I didn't want to start going to war with the Romans, we could maybe have done it with the Greeks, but not so much the Romans, is if we do that, we face the entire whole clan of them. And I think it's a bit too soon to be opening that can of worms up. So, yeah. Whew. Good grief. It's good to be back in a total war. It's good to be back. I just love the strategic thinking. It's great. So, yes, let me know your thoughts, your advice as we proceed onwards. In the next session, we continue our preparations for the war with the Numidians. Until then, I'll see you soon.